If you guys missed my video like a couple videos ago, I promoted a plushie that I recently dropped for my second channel, Birdie. Check it out. It's limited time only. The link's in the description. Once we reach 200 sales, they will be funded and shipped out. Thank you for the support on the campaign, and anyways, back to the video. So I'm back on that grind set, all right? This is the second video I've recorded in this studio session, bro. I'm cooking up, all right? But anyways, today we got some babysitter stories, and a lot of them are done well on here, so why not do it again? So the story begins when the subscribers' parents decide to take a trip to the US, all right? They're from the UK, and they were like, screw it, let's go on vacation to the US. Now, the subscriber was 11 years old at the time, and they did not trust him cooking or just watching over the house in general, so they had to hire a babysitter just to be sure that the house was safe. The babysitter came in and greeted his parents and stuff, and basically, the babysitter just, like, gave the parents her number and stuff. Just make sure, like, if everything was good and nothing bad happened. And this girl was, like, 23 years old. And basically, what he had noticed is that the babysitter just seemed pretty normal when the parents were there. And the parents said, all right, we'll see you when we get back. And they went to the airport. And when his parents left, the babysitter instantly asked him and said, how are you doing on this fine day? You know, how's life? She asked, do you like animals? And he was like, yeah, I like cats. They're pretty cool. And then she starts digging through her bag. And he was like, what's going on? Why is she like digging through her bag? Would she bring like a fucking cat with her or some shit? And she takes out a goddamn fursuit costume thing from her bag. And this was like 4 years ago or something. And he just like thought to himself, what the hell is that? Why does she have a fursuit with her? Now, he had a pretty broad idea of internet culture, so he knew what a furry was, but he's never really like seen one in real life. And he just asked her, what is that? And she was just like, oh, it's a fursuit. And now, of course, he hated furries. And he was like, why do you have that? Like, you're supposed to be looking after me. Like, what are you gonna do? Just act like a goddamn cat if I like burn the house down or some shit? Like, what are you gonna do? Now, like, he's pretty anti-furry, but he stayed cool because he didn't want to get like slapped or shouted at by his parents. So he just went upstairs, ignored it, and turned on his Xbox. He played some Roblox and searched up Doom and played it, since he didn't really have the actual Doom game. He played like a particular mode where you kill furries. And now the babysitter walks into his room like as he's playing this mode on Roblox. And then she was like, oh my god, is that a furry? And she was like licking her lips, and she was doing some other weird shit. And then he was basically telling her fuck off. Like he was telling her to just leave him alone. And then like as he was shooting furries, she started shouting at him, "Why are you killing furries?" And he was just like, "Oh my lord, what the hell?" And he just like slams the door shut and kind of just like pushes her out of her room. After like 20 minutes, he was like practicing like dart aim. You know, sometimes he's got a dartboard in his room, so he was just casually throwing darts. So he went downstairs and got a glass of water after his dart practice, and he saw her kissing a picture of a fox that was hung up on the wall. What sane human being kisses a picture of a fox? Like, if you're a furry, you know, whatever, do your thing, I guess. You know, that's all you. You can do whatever the hell you want. Just keep it in your own home. But, dude, who on God's green earth kisses a picture of a fox and thinks they're like a normal person? And obviously, of course, that's going to weird him out. You know, he's a pretty justified reaction to whatever the hell he just witnessed. So he had like a Nerf toy gun, and it had like a soft bullet, and he had like a needle on the tip. It was like a dart, like kind of on the tip of the bullet, and he used this for like dart practice. He was joining like the UK Air Force like in the coming year, so he had to practice. All right, and after he went back upstairs, he grabbed it, you know, after he came back from taking a piss, and he was walking downstairs with this toy gun, and he saw her take out a inappropriate or an adult toy or an inappropriate toy, and she was just licking it. And he was like, what the hell is going on? He just ran up to his room, and at this point he didn't know what to do. He like barricaded his door shut, he locked the fucking doors. Like there was no hope for this lady. There was no saving her. And then you know, a few minutes later, she decided to come upstairs to his room, And then she said, UWU, and just started fucking knocking on the door. And she was like, can I come in? Like, I need to show you something. He was like, no, you are not coming in this room, bro. Like, I don't care who you are. Like, you could show me goddamn Elon Musk. Like, you could be like, oh, yeah, Elon Musk is here and he wants to meet you. Like, I'm still not opening that goddamn door. Like, no, thank you. Like, you could say, goddamn Jimmy Donaldson himself, the GOAT, is here to give me 10K, and I still would not be opening that door. Nothing was going to stop him from keeping that door barricaded. She was like, open the door. I want to show you something. And, of course, she kept saying UWU in her sentences, like, unironically. That's kind of crazy to me. That's why I just say the letters. Like, I don't actually say the word. Like, I just shrivel up into a goddamn ball every time I see the word or hear the word. Like, it's bad. Then the subscriber was confused as hell, and he's like, no, I'm not opening the door. What do you mean you have to show me something? Like, bro, that's mad weird. And she was like, you know, we could have a little fun. And he had no idea what he meant at first, but obviously it hit him. And he was like, oh, hell nah, bro. Get the fuck out of this house right now, bro. No way you just said that. And he like triple checked to make sure the door was locked at that point. He called his parents and basically told them everything that just went down. He was just like, yeah, so this babysitter's weird as fuck. Where'd you hire her off of, like, Craigslist or some shit? Listen, you need to get her out of this fucking house right now. Like, call the cops. She's weird as fuck. Please get her out of here. And yeah, that's exactly what they did. His parents called the cops, and after that, the cops came, and the babysitter was escorted out of the house. And his parents ended up having to get like a relative to watch him. It was found by the police that she was guilty of a lot of shit I really don't want to get into. But yeah, he never saw her again after that, of course, and she's probably still in jail to this day. Next story, we got another babysitter, of course. That was a real bitch, all right? Like, she was just like absolutely worst of the worst. Like, definitely worse than the last one, I gotta say. Like, I don't know how you top that, but apparently it can be topped. But anyways, in this story, we're gonna call the subscriber Luck. And now he wanted me to call him that. And the babysitter was in her 20s, okay? She was a two-faced bitch, all right? We're gonna keep it a stack here. And every time his parents left, she would just turn into the spawn of Satan. In addition to that, her cooking was absolutely disgusting. Like, literally, when his parents would leave, like, the babysitter would just be really mean to him rather than just, like, pretending to be really nice like she is around his parents. She was one of those babysitters that put up an act in front of the parents and just basically just completely switched personalities as soon as they left. So, Satan's spawn of a babysitter invites her boyfriend over with some friends to the crib, all right? And it was around 10 p.m. at this point, and usually it'd be like a solid 10 minutes before Luck would fall asleep, all right? And not this time, unfortunately. They were just being extremely loud, so it was impossible for him to fall asleep. Like, he just kept tossing and turning, and nothing was happening. So he was just extremely bored and just did not know what to do, because he knew he was going to be up for a long-ass time. And there was no stopping her. There was no point of even trying. The babysitter was just going to continue to be loud. But there was a lot of laughing, shouting, smoking, and other noises that are not family friendly that were just way too loud for him to stand. Like, he could smell the smoke just lingering in his room, and he was like, oh my god, bro, like, I'm done. Like, and the noises just could not stop getting louder and louder. And after 30 minutes of just sitting through all these noises and, like, the smell of skunk just posted up in his room, like the smell of gas just hitting his lungs, he was like, I'm done. I just can't do this anymore. So he decided to go downstairs, and he was like, I'm just gonna tell them to shut the fuck up and stop smoking in the house because this is ridiculous. And he just went downstairs and he was like, all right, I'm just gonna ask him to keep it down. I'm just gonna ask her to keep it down. That's it. That's all. But he couldn't. He was just in so much shock. He was absolutely flabbergasted as to what he saw. He was like, there is no way, bro. Like, my eyes must be deceiving me right now. So we saw the babysitter with her boyfriend under a blanket, and it did not look like they were wearing clothes. So yeah, he put two and two together as to what was going on. Like, he was not dumb, bro. Like, he knew. And now this babysitter has been his number one op for a long time. Like, this babysitter was doing the worst to him, bro. Like, he would cook him up like, I don't know, some shit-ass burnt mac and cheese or some shit. She could not cook it for life dependent on it, bro. She'd be the type to fuck up a piece of toast. Like, it was so bad. And on top of that, she was just really mean to him in general. So, obviously, for a long time, she was op number one. So he decides to just quickly rush back upstairs and get his phone to shoot pictures for evidence, all right? He was not doing anything with those pictures, bro, I promise. He was obviously going to take these pictures and videos just so he would have evidence to show his parents. Like, obviously, he's not going to let them doing the dirty deed in the living room slide, bro. That's not happening. Then he had these pictures sent to his other devices that way. Like, if she, like, tried to delete them or shit like that, she would just not be in any luck, all right? Like, it's basically backed up on a bunch of different devices at this point. So, after that, she had no idea that he saw what happened. But he just stayed upstairs for the rest of the night. And he decided, all right, I'm not going to confront her until the morning, because she's going to be really fucking shocked when I just say I have all this evidence and she's fucked. So, yeah. So he goes downstairs in the morning and he sees a few other couples under blankets. Definitely wearing clothes, guys. Yeah, they were go happy, go lucky ABC balloon couples, all right? They had clothes on. No, they didn't. Of course not. This whole thing was just crazy to witness. And the babysitter was the only one that was dressed at this point, because she just woke up and got hit with the fact she's like, oh shit, I'm supposed to be babysitting this kid. And, you know, after all the rugs she was off on wore off, she finally realized this. And she looked kind of in a panic already, because his parents were coming back that morning, so she was pretty much fucked. The crib was a mess. There was still certain substance smells lingering around, chips on the floor. There was still a goddamn smoking device, I can't say the name of it, in the middle of the living room. That is crazy. And then the subscriber was like, oh, good morning, babysitter. You know, did you really enjoy last night? You know, was last night a great and wonderful time? And then she responded like, what are you talking about? Like, you don't know anything about last night. And then he whipped out his phone and he was like, oh yeah. And he was like, oh yeah, that's crazy. Because like, remember this? And he whipped out his phone and showed what seems to be, you know, rugs and her and her boyfriend under the couch, under the blanket. What the fuck? Why did I say under the... And of course, the babysitter, like, starts to yell at him. So everybody else quickly wakes up, confused as hell, like, with a hangover and shit. And they all start to get dressed. And they try to, like, quickly run to the door. And of course, the parents got home just in time. They were like, all right, well, we're home. Oh, what the fuck? And then his dad threatened to call the police because what the fuck? Like, this was just ridiculous. Like, I don't, the house was trashed. Like, it was bad, all right? They all just ran out of the house after that, and that was pretty much it. He never saw that babysitter again. So the next story begins when a friend invited the subscriber over for a party. Said pull up around 10. So her and about 20 other people decided to pull up at this party. And of course, as soon as they arrived, they're like, yo, wait, this is not your apartment. What the hell's going on? And then he was like, no, I moved. And like when they looked up the address, it was like a 3-story house, a pool, a basement, the whole shebang, all right? So she was like, yo, did your family get like $1 million house? Like what the hell happened here? And I guess we'll call the guy John. And John was like, yes, so my aunt passed away and I inherited all the money. And now she did not hear anything of this aunt. Like she only knew that he had like 5 uncles. So he was like what aunt are you talking about? And like she genuinely had no idea. But she's just like, whatever. You know what? I'll just turn up at this party, bro. Like who cares? So she gets there. It's a really nice house. She knocks on the door and John opens the door. John looks at her up and down and like stands out of the way of the door so she can see the house. She sees 2 of her other friends. And now she gets a house tour and eventually they walk into the kitchen. And when she walks into the kitchen, she sees one kid about like 4 or 5 years old. And then she sees another kid that's like an infant. And, you know, she says to the kid like, oh yeah, your brother, like, oh, he's really nice. Like, oh, he's cool. And, was like, oh, that's not my brother. That's my babysitter. And she was like, whoa, hold on a second. Pause. You're babysitting these kids? And you're throwing a party? What the hell is going on? So she turns to the infant that's like, I gotta be like 11 months old. And the baby's like trying to open the cabinet and get at some of those cleaning products. So obviously she picks up the kid. And she starts whipping up a meal because, yeah, John was not going to take. So, yeah, clearly bro was an awful babysitter. Like, I don't know what was going on. Like, this dude had, like, powder with him. I guess that's the best way I can say it, all right? And then after that, the subscriber's boyfriend walks in. We'll call him Zach. Now, Zach looks at her, the infant, and then the toddler just walks out. And then John walks in, and they just both stare at him. Like, what the hell is this? Like, are you really babysitting right now? And then John just shrugs and pulls out his spicy powder. Zach slaps him and he's like, bro, there is children around. What the hell are you doing? And now this is what Zach said before a fight broke out between both of them. So she just grabs the kids and just drags them upstairs. And then they were like, oh, it's fine. No worries. Don't worry about it. As the kids were like, what the hell is going on? Like, they were just so confused. And now at this point, John comes upstairs wasted, all right? Like, he is fucking gone. And then they were like yelling at the subscriber, like downstairs. They were like, yo, come get wasted with us. I mean, like, someone had to watch these kids because, like, they were just like, they were not being taken care of, bro. Like, it was crazy. So she just decided to shout back at them, look, I'm not leaving these infants alone. She heard groans of annoyance from the people downstairs, like, oh, come on, bro, you're being such a buzzkill. But, bro, they are responsible for these kids. Like, if something bad happens, they're going to be the ones responsible. Like, they're fucked if something bad happens. So then John comes upstairs again and grabs her and just, like, pulls her downstairs. Now, this dude was drunk and off who knows what. She just pushes off him and just points at him to go downstairs. And then he just whispers and, like, slurs about, like, how he wanted her to be his boyfriend and stuff. Like, it just was not making any sense. Like, this whole night just felt like a fever dream. She just shoved him out of the room and closed the door. She noticed that, like, one of the kids just grabbed her phone and started taking pictures. She just decided to open it and just give him her favorite game to play. Let him play it while this whole chaos was going down. Now she was snooping around because, like, the really young infant was crying because she was hungry. And now she goes downstairs to go get her food. And now at this point, they had a bonfire going. And they had some za going as well. Like, they were getting that ready. She was just like, Jesus Christ, really? With kids in the house? Then she went to go get, like, milk out of the fridge or something. And then Zach walks up to her and just gives her a hug and basically just tells her, like, yeah, you gotta call the police. Like just go with the kids. Like, these kids should not be around this. So she gets some food for the kids and she calls the police and explains what the hell's going on. And then they ask if the original babysitter is there. And she said yes. And then the cops were basically like, you need to leave the kids with the original babysitter. And she was like, what? What are you talking about? Like, the original babysitter is off his ass right now. Like, that dude is gone. Like, there is no way he's going to be able to function and take care of these kids. Bro can't even whip up a meal. Like, what makes you think he's going to be able to take care of these kids? So she explains that to the cops. Like, bro is high off his ass right now. He is not taking care of these kids. And they say, oh, all right, we'll be there very soon. So John comes up into her room and punches a hole through the door. Or not her room, but the room she was in. And then he's off his ass and he just starts yelling at her. The police show up and at this point she's trying her best to comfort the kids. They grab John. They just say sorry to her and then they call the parents. The parents show up and they just start thanking her. Now, she did not, like, tell her mom or, like, anyone in her family she was going to, like, this party. I guess it was supposed to be a party. But then she tells them, like, the entire story and what just happened. And obviously, you know, she understood. These kids were basically in danger, bro. Like, it was bad. And then John had the audacity to send a text. He was like, you lost me my money. You lost me my money. What the fuck? I'm gonna beat you the hell up on Monday. And then she just decides, all right, bro's capping. Like, there's no way he's actually gonna beat me up. So she just showed her other friends who were invited to that party, and they were just all laughing so hard because there was no way this dude was gonna do anything. Like, let's be honest. Like, this dude was all bark, no bite. Like, nothing was gonna happen. It's always the dudes that talk the most smack that just can't really bring the same energy. But of course, to nobody's surprise at all, she heard absolutely nothing from him. Yeah, and that's not a shock at all. She was not beat up that very Monday. Comment Babysitter if you made this far. I'll catch you on the next one. Peace out.